me to introduce another good friend, Dr. Peter Xie. He's also a volunteer at Monty Jade. At first, I invited him as a speaker, but due to his personal issue, he couldn't decide at that moment. But we're so lucky to still have his help today. The next will be the Fireside chat with Lisa and Limin, basically hosted by Peter. So let's welcome all of them.
Let's go up. Or you want to stand here, Limin?
No. And at the same time, if you have any questions popping up in your mind, you'd like to ask that.
We need a fire.
So let's maybe make it a little bit curved so we can see each other.
So you don't need to move. You can stay in the middle.
Stay in the middle?
Yeah. And then we need to move up a little bit. So
we're looking for the fire. There we go.
We need to take a 5-minute break for us to light up a fire here for the Fireside chat. So bear with us. I'm very honored to be able to interview my senior Limin. We've actually known each other for since 2003.
Yeah, very long time.
Yeah, and we also graduated. I'm actually trying to catch his honor here. We graduated from the same undergrad university in National Taiwan. And Lisa, I have 2 companies that I previously invested that were sold to Synopsys. So I'm trying to build relationship and network here. That's what everyone's saying. Good. So I think actually I'm playing a more redundant role here today. Actually, it should be Lisa interviewing Limin. So I will try to make sure that this conversation is dynamic. And this session will be about 20 minutes, and we will have about 10 minutes left for a Q&A. So if any one of you feel that your questions are not answered, please feel free to raise your hand. And we have 2 very capable speakers that do care about people that are going to be willing to answer. So first one is, I will start with Limin, if you don't mind, Lisa, is you told people that you always need to be optimistic.
Yes.
And never give up. What if I have tried and tried and tried and I'm 55 years old? Should I still be optimistic?
Yeah, look at Taiwan, Han Guoyu. He was depressed for 17 years. They always have a chance. But I think the most important one is that when you set your goal, and you need to focus on your progress, and then you need to focus on the future. So the failure, the most important one is you continue to embrace failure, right? So I'm going to give you an analogy, right? It's like you set a goal for climbing the Mount Everest. It takes forever, but you're making progress. You're climbing Mount Diablo. You're making progress every day, and then that's how you feel happy. You try not to compare with other people. Just look at yourself, and then if you're getting closer to your destination, you feel happier because you need to have patience.
Okay, hold on. I want to challenge him one more question. What if I'm 55 years old, but I cannot afford to live in Silicon Valley? I have to live in Modesto, as an example.
So then you just move to Modesto.
And be happy, right?
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely. So the very important thing is that it's your own choice, right? When you make a decision, you want to live in San Francisco, you're not going to have a big house. But you go for your dream, so that you need to know what give and take, and then you make decision, and then you just follow your heart. Yeah.
Great. Lisa, do you have anything to add? Or of all the executives that you have coached, who speaks the same story as Limin, and who have you seen that have failed multiple times and eventually, when he's 55 or 60 years old, gradually made it? Maybe you can share some stories that you have observed and coached.
I would be happy to. I think when we were meeting the other day, we were looking to oppose feelings sometimes, but we're very aligned, so just bear with me. When I was talking earlier about how do you want to feel, and Peter, to your example about, I'm not feeling good about myself, or I'm comparing, I'm just not satisfied. I think what's missing for people, and what I see with all the executives I coach and all of the programs I run, is until you're clear on what matters to you, you're comparing yourself to somebody else. okay? That person got promoted faster. This person went to the better school. This person, I mean, I had 7 years of infertility. I had people getting pregnant around me all the time, okay? And let me talk about why not me, right? As you know, I have good news on that up front, but that was a 7-year journey. And I had to keep getting clear about like what mattered to me, how do I want to feel? And so I think to just piggyback on what you're saying, if Modesto is where you're gonna go, then what's Modesto gonna get to you? What's the gift in Modesto, right? Versus San Francisco. So you want a big house, it's probably not San Francisco. You want a big house so you can host parties, be with your family, relax, Modesto's great, right? But you want to grow your career and you want to be close for the connection and collaboration, Modesto is not the best place because you're gonna be commuting a lot. So for the executives I work with, a lot of times what I find is when they are insecure about their role, they are always comparing, right? And so the work I do with them is a lot on mindset and what their strengths are so they can step back into that and feel more confident and more capable in what they're doing. And with that comes the shift to be more happy in their life.
Right. And in addition to one of the questions that came up before the conference is how do you deal with pressure? If I may continue the line of discussion we just had. Now, I'm very happy that I'm living in Modesto, for example. And, but my friends are all living in San Francisco. And should I settle and start making friends around Modesto? Or should I start commuting or buy a self-driving car to come to San Francisco to make friends? Where do I find my support group so that we feel we're happy together? Yeah.
Yeah, I think going back to the same point, right? You need to know what you are going after, right? So that if you know what you're going after, and you need to know that your future is there, and then you're making progress there. Suppose I want to start a company in Modesto, that's fine. And then the other one is that you need to be flexible. Once you go to Modesto, you're going to make friends there. Because you don't pick your friend, you don't do strategy, you just go out and make friends, no matter where you go. I think that if you internalize your progress, your mission, and then you understand your strength and weakness, if you know that in a few years, you're going to build a construction company in Modesto, and then maybe in 10 years, you have different dream going back to San Francisco, that's fine. But you need to accept what you have, your decision, and then make the most of it. So that's why I say that if I try my best and I don't feel regret, and then I need to enjoy what I have, so that when you have a big house, you don't want to envy the someone living in San Francisco with a very nice nightlife.
Limin, I have to interrupt. The focus of my question, sorry, is not about handling pressure or living in Modesto, because down there, a lot of farmers are actually worth tens of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So they have very heavily in their assets. But the question is, how do you build your support group? That's the question. Yeah. Sorry, Limin.
Yeah, we'll go together.
We'll go together.
We go together because you know I'm building my support group today too.
Great.
I give all the difficult questions to him. I take care of the easy ones.
Yeah. I want to give you guys a phrase that made a huge difference for me. So you probably know I'm a big fan of coaching. Okay. I've had a coach my entire career or a mentor. I've always had someone in my life to give me advice and help me see myself in my next version of me. Mm-hmm. And they taught me this phrase. It's reason, season, lifetime. Okay. Reason, season, lifetime. And what I want to say about that and what really showed up for me is friends, support group. There is a reason, a season, and some of them are you're blessed with a lifetime. Now, when I went through my reboots over my career, as a new college grad, I was friends with everybody from college. And then I met a bunch of people at work and it was amazing, right? Then Randy and I settled down and our friends started becoming more married couples, right? Then the infertility journey happened and I lost a lot of friends, because it was a very difficult process. I'm sure all of us have had hardship.
Meaning, were you driving your friends away from you, or you were trying to compare?
I couldn't relate to them anymore. Like they were busy at birthday parties and baby showers, and I was busy at doctor's offices and medical exams. So we couldn't relate, right? So that was a seasonal friendship, right? Now that I have a daughter and now that I'm in school, actually Raymond Chen here has become my friend. Our daughters are in the same class. And so the reason I'm here is he's become my friend and he's part of my network now, right? So I think it's always knowing that you're going to pivot and evolve, but stay true to yourself and those right people will show up. right? And Meetup. Meetup is a great way. I know a lot of folks are just finding a hobby in mind, and they're connecting on Meetup. So I hope that helps. Reason, season, lifetime, don't judge it. Just know that there's a wave of this process.
So I really forgot Peter's question, but I'm going to answer whatever I want to answer anyway. So
true executive acts like that. You don't care about what the question is. You just say what you wanted to say.
Yes. So I think going back to, I want to emphasize the third item I mentioned, right? When I have a lot of friends, I realize that the most successful friends and the most happiest friends are the ones with a lot of friends. So the one type of networking effect is that you need to understand people, embrace people. When you have a lot of friends, everything is easy, right? Because you're down, you have friends share information. You need help, your friends will help you. And when you have friends, you have a lot of opportunity. And you need to build a company. You need a lot of talents. You have a lot of so that's why I think the coming to the CIE, doing the networking. And then Chinese, I have a lot of the Jewish friends. I mean, it's all my friends. So I think the networking is very important. And thanks CIE give us this great opportunity to do networking. Yeah, so I thank the organizer as well. Yeah.
Observed. True executives speak what they want to say. True politician also knows how to please people. These are all very important, I would say, but Limin is demonstrating on the spot how to be successful to be in terms of networking. I'm saying this as a very respectful way rather than in a condescending way, yeah. I would like to just share one thing, but you guys did not understand. Limin knows me very well. I've moved cross-Pacific 5 times. I've lived here for 16 years and moved to Beijing for 9 years, to Taipei 2 years. I just came back 4 years ago. And it is hard to make friends when you're moving around. Maybe if you can think about coaches you have coached, maybe I need your counseling, how to make true supporting group friends when you're moving around. Or if your kids, unfortunately, have to move around with you. I know we have some government employees here whose kids have moved around with them. I moved back here because I wanted my kids to be able to secure and have middle school and high school here. So I committed to them that I'm not going to move. But for the executives that you have seen, how do they find their support group? Not everyone is a Christian, go to church, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Should I go first?
Yeah,
okay.
first. Yeah.
I'm actually in your shoes, right? So I coach a lot of people that are moving. And I actually have a friend who's a sleep coach, if you ever knew that was a thing, right? When you have the new babies. And I said, you're not a sleep coach, you're a family transition coach. Like, people are moving.
Lisa, if I may I think I didn't put my question too well. Because most of us are first-generation immigrants or second-generation immigrants. So something in the back of our mind is always thinking about, should I go back to Asia? Should I start traveling?
I see.
Right?
Got it,
I think that's the question that maybe a lot of people.
I understand. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the clarification, Peter. So I'm first-generation college. Right, I'm the first one in my family to go to college. I had no support and no guidance, and so that's the best I can relate to being in what the description you have.
Yes.
So going to college, I'm like, how do you make friends? What do you do? How does this all work? And I realized that for me, on my own basis, it was being vulnerable, sharing, being offered. I mean, I even got here I said to Larry, can I help you set up? Right? What can you do to connect with someone to be of service? What can you do to connect with someone so they can see your heart and like your intention? So being really clear on that and being vulnerable about what you're looking for. I tell people all the time I'm looking for friends, right? I'm looking for friends that are like-minded. I'm looking for friends that will challenge me. With the people that have relocated that I've coached, they're so busy working in their job, friends usually aren't the first priority. It's about 6 months in when it's like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I've lost 6 months of my life and I don't even have anybody to hang out with on the weekend, that they're like, what do I do? And it goes back to, I mean, honestly, LinkedIn is one way that people are connecting through the world. I'm connecting people. Facebook is another way that people are connecting. And Meetup, honestly, Meetup has been a very big help to the people that I'm working with to find something in common, to be able to have something to hang on to.
How do you take care of your spouse? For example, maybe he or she is not working. staying home.
Yep.
You would have your own social circle with your colleagues, but your kids have to get to know new friends.
Yep.
And the spouse maybe just getting to know where the supermarket is, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we're new at school this year as well, and so Raymond can attest to me. Like we would sit down and talk, and Randy, who you guys met, you know, he didn't know anybody at this new school either. So we have that new school experience, and Emily struggled, right? I don't have any friends, and I'm not here to tell you it's easy, but I'm here to tell you as a family, we sit around and we talk about it. You know, what kind of friends do we want to attract? What can we do as a family? Who can we invite over? Because you have to include your spouse or your partner, right? And your kids, you're all going through a transition. So I think as the leader, someone who recognizes this need, it's really opening up the dialogue and being creative about how you can do that. And it's being open. I mean, I meet people at birthday parties. You know, the kids get invited, so I'm like, hey, I get to meet new friends today, right? But am I nervous? Yes. Do I want to go to another birthday party when I just want to take? No, but I need to meet new people, right? So that's how it's worked for me.
Limin, what do you think? Yeah,
I think as a first generation immigrant, I think there's a few things I'd like to share. Number one is that just be curious. And the second one is that don't be afraid, right? And the third one is just embrace. For example, if I go anywhere, I see my colleagues, and then I meet someone, I just curious about them, and then try to understand them, and then I had very broken English from the beginning. Even now, my English is still not that good, but I'm not afraid. I talk to people, and then you found that the other people are curious too, so don't be afraid. And one of the, for example, the other thing I look at my company or IBM, I always tell people, don't create the Chinatown. Every lunch, the Chinese, sitting with Chinese, talking Chinese, if you have a close circle, you never make other friends. You don't know, other people are very open, friendly, and just very willing to help. The last one is really that you just embrace the mainstream, right? So we join Boy Scout, and then we know many friends there. Oh, I enjoy drinking and then wine tasting, but that's better to. So I have a lot of friends who like.
If you need any wine, go talk to Limin. So, he has it.
So if you have a lot of hobbies, and then you're going after your hobby, and then you have passion, then you much easier to get to know friends.
Right. I have one point I want to share. There was a very good friend who told me that, Peter, how come you didn't come to me when you needed help? Yeah, so I think a lot of people are willing to help. It's a matter of asking, and usually there's no downside. Yeah.
I totally agree.
So can I add one more point? I found that I know a lot of friends through charity. Because I spend a lot of time doing charity, and then because when you do charity, you're giving out and then not expecting any return. Turn out you meet the best friends, because you meet the same type of friends and then willing to help others. And so I mean, actually doing charity is one way to get a lot of friends.
Great. Limin, I truly actually respect you. Even though we hang out and did the concert together before I left for Beijing, but after I got back, I got to know you very well. And Lisa, thank you very much. And we want to open the floor to audience questions. Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on babbling here. I only see PDAs or cell phones coming up to take pictures, but no hands raised. Okay, gentleman in the center. You, yeah.
The microphone?
You can come up here if you want, or...
Yes, my question is about technology.
Oh, here comes the microphone. Yep.
Oh, we have a microphone in the back. Yeah,
Thanks.
Because this is a major Chinese engineer association, I ask technology questions. As everybody knows, the computer technology related innovations in United States were made 40 years ago, 50 years ago. The most recent technology innovation was the internet, which was made 30 years ago. The telephone we use was made 143 years ago. And for past 20 years, US public company number dropped from 8,000 to less than 4,000. And US VC investment return 20 years average was below minus 25%. Even like this major society, engineer society, we couldn't find a company to do presentations. I just wonder why all the innovation disappeared. The creativity disappeared. Productivity disappeared because for past 20 years, US inflation rate overpassed the GDP growth by 0.2%.
So if I may cut you short, your question is...
My question is,
yes.
Yeah, everybody is engineers, everybody do technology. What we can do to get our innovation come back, get our productivity back, get our, even like the training war between China and US, the politicians fighting for years, they don't know what to do, still waiting there, get 2 more years. 2 more days. I just wonder what happened for this world. Why does people get suddenly out of ideas? Where are the ideas?
So this question is so easy. Peter, why don't you go ahead?
I'm being moderated because this is my 22nd year as a venture capitalist, and I'm being asked what happened to innovation. These days, I did VC here and also in China. I think there are two ways to look at innovation. One way is fundraising innovation. It used to be, I remember vividly back 20-something years ago, there was a semiconductor company that raised $40 million and failed, and that was considered a huge failure amongst VC community, raising 40 and lost. And today, 40 is a piece of cake, right? A private company could have raised more than $1 billion. So it's a big difference here today. And second thing is, but on the other hand, you want to see technology innovation. Would you consider Facebook to be technology innovation, Limin? Would you consider maybe you as a founder, Limin to be a technology innovation or business model innovation?
Yeah, I think it's really business model innovation, right?
Right.
Imagine Uber changing your experience in the United States, right? You're waiting, arrange for the car, and it's, you need to wait for the time. It's so complicated. Right now, you can pick up the phone, do a lot of things you want. And I think the artificial intelligence, the blockchain, the bio, I think the innovation will continue to, I think it's not less, it's plenty of innovation.
Yeah.
But a lot of innovation is in the lifestyle, right? So right now, if you look at 10 years ago and versus now, everyone use cell phone, and then everything's so different, right?
Can I make a quick comment on
Of
that?
course.
So because I work inside companies on a daily basis, right, I have a little bit of a different take for you. And what I'm noticing is people are worried about their jobs. And when you're afraid, you don't speak your truth, right? You just try and just get the job done. So when you're in a larger corporation and the culture is much that failure is not an option, that stops innovation, right? And this is a very generic thing I'm talking about, but it's very much a systemic problem. And what I notice is when people are in an organization and they're allowed and empowered to try and fail, as long as you fail forward fast, that's where the innovation happens, right? So I think there's a culture, there's leadership, there's managerial courage and personal courage as well. All of that plays into it. And you know, being in the Valley here for 20 plus years, you know, I've seen the .com bust. I've seen, you know, things go up. And when people are afraid for their jobs or they're not fully engaged, they're just doing the job, they're not in it because they love it, I think you see a decline in innovation.
Yeah. Let me just, since I'm the moderator, I can speak whenever I want, right? It used to be, I think this question is a great question. It used to be, I think, anything that's very hardcore, how you make a switch faster, how you make a semiconductor faster, that's true technology. But think about it. F equals ma, V is equal to IR. Those are fundamental technologies. And all semiconductor is, or anything related to automobile, is based upon these laws of physics. It doesn't have to be something that's based upon laws of physics building up to be innovation, because the fundamental theory is always the same. It's just like when you're writing code, the logic is very similar. The command, the logic is very similar, but building them and putting them together is where the difficulty is. So I would not say software companies such as Limin that has business innovation does not have technology innovation, because to me today, knowing semiconductor, I've been invested in semiconductor for 20-something years. It's not much different. It's a matter of knowing the fundamental building block and try to stir the frying pan, to make it a beautiful product or business, right? Yeah.
So I think I'd like to offer a different view. I think let's not look back. Let's look forward. I can share with you that the opportunity and the problem are growing because you have more people, right? So the future, there's a tremendous opportunity. So tremendous opportunity for innovation.
Yeah, great. I hope we're trying to answer your question, but definitely you're not satisfied. I have not seen your face. It can never satisfy everyone, but we want to leave the floor for one more question if there's any. Thank you. The gentleman over here with beard that I cannot afford to have. Yeah.
Hi, my question is in regards to the fintech innovation. I've been to majority of the events in the Valley and been talking to the banks, trying to understand the innovation aspect. My take by talking to these folks, they do not, the banks especially, they have experts in how the finance transaction works, but the innovation side, it's still not there. You know, being an engineer, software engineer by trade, and then I got into venture side. So according to you, since you're an expert in the industry, what's your take on the next approach towards to disrupt the fintech industry?
Okay, so I think again, the market is so big, so there's plenty of the area to improve, right? So the two big areas in the fintech in the future, number one is automation, right? So that there are a lot of the tedious process and everything digital and everything automated by artificial intelligence. So that would be much more powerful. For example, like the payment on mobile, right? The second area is going to be more revolutionary, which is blockchain. So the basic idea is that why do you need the big banks, right? Why do you need to go to the central bank controlling everything? So a lot of people working on blockchain type of technology. One day you don't need the big banks. So you're going to move from centralized control to decentralized financial industry. So that's still a very far away future, but that's the big area that is still very early, and I think eventually that will become very powerful in the near future.
You say it's far away, but you say it's in the near future. Which one is it?
Yeah. I think the far away.
We know each other too.
Far away in near future. So at the far end of the near future. Yeah.
It feels far, but it'll be here before you know it.
So it's coming, but you just don't know how soon it will come.
Okay, Lisa, do you want to add anything here about fintech innovation?
No, thank you.
Okay, okay.
I mean, we have the expert right here, and I'm surrounded, so I would, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Technical.
It's always V equals to IR, so there's going to be a push and a pull. But I hope this ends the session, and because we're running out of time. So thank you very much. Thank you, Limin.
Thank you,
Lisa.
Let's give them a big applause. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.